Hi, I'm Art Napolitano, and I'm really privileged to be here in London today. We just finished a London leadership school for Zinzino. And I've only been with Zinzino a short time. As you probably know, I'm a network professional who had to make a choice and chose Zinzino as the last run for me in direct selling for so many reasons. But then I started to study the business, the comp plan, and I then heard the name Kirsten Pearse. In fact, everyone told me this guy was an incredible leader, had a long history as well as I have in direct selling, and he just had a understanding of our compensation plan like few do. So first of all, I want to welcome you for being with me.
Thank you.
You're here from South Africa,
yeah.
I know, and so just tell me a little bit about your background. I think your family was in network marketing first, or your mom or something?
Yeah, so my mom, single mom. We're talking 1980s, start of the MLM revolution, I suppose. Get started with a company, had 3 kids she needed to get through school. Dad had passed away, unfortunately, at a young age. And so my mom took us from poverty to dramatic success. She's now, she's 74 years old, cash retired, multimillionaire.
Wow.
And that's the industry. So I didn't always have the love and the affinity for it, if I can be honest. You see some interesting results, and it's the hustle. But as I got older, I realized just what this opportunity gave us. And so I'm a second-generation networker. 1 out of 4 siblings that does it. My mom still, she's retired, but she's a networker. She's a director with Zinzino.
Oh, wow.
At 74. Yeah, she got involved. She wasn't going to do anything, put some customers in, but went director because, you can't put an old networker down. That's just the way it works. But yeah, it's been an amazing journey. 3 different companies that I've been with in my 20-year career in direct selling. And Zinzino, I think very similarly to you, this is the last place that I will be building. I'm not intending to go anywhere else, and I really see this as an opportunity to be somewhere significant and to build something significant in this place.
Well, you are a star in Zinzino. I've heard you train on the compensation plan, but before we talk about that, how did you end up choosing Zinzino? I mean, I've been telling my story about how it happened, but what was it that added up for you? What were the criteria you had that said, okay, this is it?
It's an interesting thing. I wasn't looking for another company. I think at the end of the day, we were the top-ranked leaders on the continent of Africa for another company that we're involved with, and we were very happy to be there. But I started to have some issues. We had a big leadership event. I was speaking on stage, and I forgot a word. And I phoned my wife up and I said, something's wrong with me. I think I've got a brain tumor, something's happening. This has never happened to me in my entire life before, and I speak all the time. And she laughed. She thought it was ridiculous. And I ended up getting back to South Africa, went to see a friend of mine who was a neurosurgeon, and she just said, you're getting old. That's just what it is. And I said, but there's no ways. I'm taking about 9,000 milligrams of omega-3 on a daily basis.
Wow.
There's no ways I should be battling with these things. And so I did what every clear-minded person does, is I posted on Facebook that I needed a solution in the omega-3 space. And a good friend of mine, Dave Ives, said, I've got something. We connected. He sent me some BalanceOil, and he just said to me, don't take the oil unless you do the test. And long story short, we found ourselves in a big moral dilemma because for the first time in the industry, having come from a wellness background, we had a technology that we didn't have to trust worked. We had a clinical, third-party, anonymous, double-blinded test that validated whether what we were taking was actually affecting not just humans, but our own personal selves. And when we got our results back, I looked at my wife and I said, this is a problem. Because now we know there's a company out there that has empirical evidence that this is something that can work in individuals. And we didn't have to rely on how people feel or placebo effect.
Right.
And so we tried the BalanceOil, got the results, and walked away from that company. Did it with keeping all of our good relationships with our upline and the company founders, and decided to launch Zinzino in South Africa. The country wasn't open. The company wasn't looking at being there, but we saw enough vision that this was where we needed to be. And so we took the leap of faith, left behind a large organization, a great income, to, on faith, start from scratch. Yeah.
And did you start with just the BalanceOil in the test?
Yeah. So for about the first 11 months, just BalanceOil and just the balance test, and the team grew exponentially. This was at the beginning of COVID as well.
Wow.
So this is not the best time to launch a business, if we're very honest. But beginning of 2020, things started to get moving. South Africa went into lockdown in April. And despite all of those challenges, the story started to get out. People were getting great results. People were seeing amazing wellness shifts and changes in their own physiology. And we couldn't stop the business from growing.
Well, my background, as you now know, has mostly been in services the last 25 years. But I had experience with some products here and there. And when I saw Zinzino, I couldn't rely on my own knowledge to be able to make a good judgment whether this test made sense. So as you've now heard my story, I enrolled some serious, experts in biochemistry and medical circles to really do the research. And like you, they came back and said, this is hard to believe because everybody else out there, every supplement company, they may even have good products, but how do you really know you're taking the right amount or if they really work for you?
Yeah.
And so when people start testing and stop guessing, you're spotting a trend. And Zinzino always says we're in front of this mega trend of testing. And so I got excited. We brought our team in here. I mean, you've been here now pioneering a little earlier than we joined. I really am excited about getting to know you. And when I looked at Zinzino, when you add up all the pieces, the company, obviously is publicly traded, the products, science, all that added up, you get to the comp plan now. And I've talked to other, experienced people, and I think I have less challenge with people who have no experience. The people experienced, they want to know everything right away.
Yeah.
And I have learned there's some brilliance in all the pieces of the comp plan.
Yeah.
And that you don't need to know them in day one, like any comp plan, truthfully.
For sure.
And yet you have this brilliant way of getting the message across, explaining it. So obviously we're not using, any tools here to show things, but, give me your take on why do you feel strongly about the Zinzino comp plan?
I think the number one reason for me that this is a comp plan that really drew us is we've never had a problem earning in the industry. We've always been top leaders. Our challenge has always been making sure that our team was earning as well as what we were earning. And I remember sitting down with Orion in the beginning, and we were talking through things, and he was very honest and very candid with me. And he said, Kirsten, so if you don't know, Orion's the founder of Zinzino together with his wife, Hilda. And he said, you may not earn as much at the top of the compensation plan as where you are. But he said something interesting to me, and this is really what got me. He said, your team will earn more here than they'll earn anywhere else. And the uniqueness of Zinzino's compensation plan is that it's the middle class of network marketers that are always the ones that are not catered for in the plan. We always have good income at the beginning stages. There's the fast start bonuses and the enrollment bonuses. And as you build a really big organization, there's a big curve of income. But what Zinzino has done in the middle class, and we have a rank called Diamond, I've never seen an income bubble quite as big as that. And that's full-time income for most people, whether you're in the US or in Australia or in Europe. That's really where most people would make the decision to go full-time in their network marketing business. And I mean, my comparison was the company I was with before. To earn that same income, I'd have to do about $180,000 worth of sales on a monthly basis to earn it, whereas Zinzino was less than $50,000. And I looked at that and I thought to myself, this is what my team needs. Because if I could get more people to that earning level, earning full-time income at that middle-class networking level, I would have sustainability unlike I've ever had before, because people wouldn't have to wait to get to that six-figure income to really create that sustainable value. And so that diamond level for me, that was really the kind of the last nail in the coffin for us to make the decision. Well,
that's a brilliant observation. And as a really good leader and a great networker, you obviously understand we're only as good as our people. And if our people aren't successful, we can't sustain anything. You can't have it all at the top. You can't have it all in the bottom. You're not going to get anybody. But something recently happened, though. and within Zinzino, which is publicly traded, and the majority of shares are owned by the people in the field.
Yeah.
Think about that. This is all my experience in network marketing, is normally privately held. If they're public, they're always way too big for me to want to join because I can't, take them to the billion-dollar land and take the big growth that comes with that and income-wise. But when I saw that Orion and Hilda founded the company and weren't actually controlling the company's money, and they put in people like Doug, the CEO, and the management team they're putting together. This is like Wall Street level management people. And I think the vision of Orion to take himself out and do what he's done. He's earning money just like you.
Yeah.
Just like me, right?
Yeah.
Just like any of you, the owners are making their money by being partners, as we call it, representative distributors. And I think that's got to tell you, if you're out there and have any understanding of network marketing, think about that. Who are you in business with? And so what I wanted to get to in this is that they just had, on I think last Monday, I think if the word's ratified or the vote went through, the shareholders approved that there's now a stock program for people that get to our highest level. So you said, okay, not as much at the top level. I might argue that right now is not true, because if you go to what we call our president level, and we have, just like other companies, a thing called CVR credits. Yeah. And I did it, just kept factoring out in dollars, was about $1.2 million a month in business, which is a big business. Yeah. And you'd be getting a 200,000 euro bonus in shares.
Yeah.
Right?
Equity. Where do we as lifetime networkers, because I'd consider it 20 years in, you're 30-something years.
Almost 35.
where do we have the opportunity to build a business, earn the income from that business, but at the same time own a share of what we develop? And then not just, you can buy voluntarily shares every month if you want to. Right. You can put your own money into it, but to be able to be given shares and ownership in something that you're responsible for building, I don't know anything like it.
Well, then they said push it to 2 million, and then we'll give you another 300,000. Push it to 4 million a month, and you get another 500. Now, look, for me in my last company, 25 years is a long run. I did work all over the world, and we had over 1 million customers. I was doing over 20 million plus a month in billing on a $15 bill. So when I think of those numbers, it's exciting if you want to go for it all. If you want the brass ring or whatever the statement would be. Zinzino is now very lucrative for the ones that want to play. If you're in, to me, looking at network marketing companies, you evaluate all the pieces, but having a chance to have equity in the company for the work you're going to do and get great income and residuals, this is a game changer for me, for recruiting purposes.
Without a doubt. Looking at this, I phoned up my accountant. I said to him, is there anything that's illegal about this? Because I feel like I have an unfair advantage. Before, we've always built, we've earned good incomes, but now having the ability to really have that stake, which is, it's another equity. And we all know, what do we teach people? You need to have multiple streams of income. There we go. We move from the employee to the self-employed to the business of the system. Now, all of a sudden, we're adding investor on top of building a business of the system. And I said, are you sure I can do this? He said, yeah, this is 100% legal. I said, okay, well, I'm feeling good about it now, but it's that good that you kind of have to check, whether it's okay to do.
Well, further validation of Zinzino came when we were forced to look for a home. And even the owners of my last company, who I love, they just had to make a business decision. Sure. It's not what they wanted. They were at the point where they wanted to retract and secure and develop just their home markets. And I had most of my business around the world. So they helped with the move. And when they saw Zinzino was going to be my choice, after having a lot of people help me research it, they went and invested $1 million into the shares of Zinzino. That's public information. So that means they obviously believe in Zinzino as much as anybody, and to put $1 million into it. And they must be also betting on me and what our team can produce, too. So I think they made a heck of an investment, by the way.
Without a doubt.
So, listen, it's such a pleasure to spend some time with you. I guess you're back from South Africa, living in the Netherlands now?
Yeah, so we've been in the Netherlands for a couple of years. We travel back into South Africa all the time. That's home, and that's where our big team is. But my wife's Dutch. My kids are Dutch. We are now living there for about 4 or 5 years. But yeah, the great thing about where we are is no matter where you're based, we've got an opportunity to build something significant, and we have a company that's expanding and growing. And doesn't matter with you in the Netherlands, South Africa, Australia, somewhere randomly in Asia, we've got a good opportunity in front of us.
Well, you're one of the best public speakers I've ever seen today. I was so happy to do the event with you this weekend. And Dave as well, man, a great guy. There's some really talented people here. I'm so glad to be part of the Zinzino family. So thank you, and glad to make your friendship.
Yeah, it's good to have you on board. It's great to be associated. And I think that's always the important thing. You know, you join a company, you never know who you engage with. But when you have relationships like this and you see the integrity and the credibility and the, just people with character that come together, you start to realize you're in the right place. And so we're ecstatic to have you on board.
Think about this. We're all partners here. We help every team. Why wouldn't you? We're going to be shareholders.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, that's it exactly.
Well, anyway, thank you for watching, everyone.
Pleasure.